Make sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button right now to see much more content just like this.
Rain came sideways across Holloway Ridge, hard enough to erase the cattle fences and turn the Texas dusk into a gray wall. Isaiah Cole leaned over the steering wheel of the ranch truck, squinting through the frantic sweep of the wipers. The gravel road beneath him had vanished under 3 inches of rushing water, and every few seconds, lightning exposed the mesquite trees bent nearly double by the wind. He had spent most of his life reading weather. He knew the smell of a dry storm before it struck. He knew the strange green color that came before hail. He knew how cattle shifted when pressure dropped, and how horses went quiet when something dangerous moved across the horizon. That evening, everything about the sky told him to turn back. Then he saw the red tail light below the road. It appeared for half a second in the lightning, far down the embankment where the creek had already jumped its banks. Isaiah hit the brakes. The truck slid sideways, tires cutting through mud before stopping against a limestone marker. He grabbed the radio from the dashboard. "South Road to Main House. Come in." Static answered. He tried again. "Anybody at Holloway, respond." Nothing. Another flash lit the creek bottom. This time he saw the overturned horse trailer. And beyond it, half submerged in brown water, Caroline Holloway's white pickup. Isaiah was out of the truck before he had time to think about what the current could do to him. The wind nearly knocked him down. He ran through mud, dropped over the embankment, and slid the last 20 feet on his boots in one hand. Water surged around his knees the moment he reached the creek bed. "Caroline." No answer. The pickup rested against a cottonwood, its driver's side buried in the flood. The passenger window was cracked but still above water. Isaiah fought his way toward it, grabbing branches and fence wire as the current pulled at his legs. He reached the truck and pounded the glass. Inside, Caroline moved. Barely. Her face was streaked with blood. One shoulder hung at a wrong angle beneath her wet denim jacket. Her eyes opened, unfocused, and then found him. "Isaiah? I'm getting you out. The horses, we'll deal with them. Look at me." The trailer rolled. "I know. Stay awake." He pulled the emergency hammer from his belt, struck the upper corner of the passenger window, and covered her face as the glass broke inward. Water rushed through the opening. Caroline screamed as the truck shifted against the tree. Isaiah reached through, unlocked the door, and pulled. It would not move. The current pressed it shut. He braced one boot against the trailer hitch and pulled again until pain shot through his injured left shoulder, the same shoulder that had never healed correctly after Afghanistan. The door opened 6 inches, then 8. "Unbuckle." "I can't feel my hand." He reached across her body and found the seatbelt release. The belt snapped free. The cottonwood groaned. A section of bank collapsed upstream, and the flood struck the truck with enough force to twist the frame. Isaiah forced the door open, caught Caroline beneath the arms, and dragged her through. Her injured shoulder slammed the window frame. She cried out, then went limp against him. "Caroline, stay with me." The truck shifted again. Isaiah looked uphill. The embankment was too steep, and the current was rising. He could not carry her straight against it. 20 yards downstream, the overturned horse trailer had wedged against a stand of cedar. One of the rear doors had torn open. He could hear a horse screaming inside. He wrapped Caroline's good arm around his neck and moved sideways through the flood. Each step was a fight. Water rose to his waist. Debris struck his thighs. A branch caught his jacket and nearly pulled him under, but he tore free, dragging Caroline with him. When they reached the trailer, a terrified bay mare kicked against the bent divider. Isaiah recognized her as Sunday Belle, Caroline's favorite cutting horse. "Easy, girl," he said, though his own breath came ragged. "Easy." He lifted Caroline through the rear opening and laid her on the highest section of the trailer floor. The structure trembled around them as the creak hammered its side. Caroline opened her eyes. "My father. He'll be looking. He thinks I went to Mason County. Save your breath." She watched him in the dim light that came through the broken roof vent. "You came after me. I saw your truck. No one else would have come down that bank." Isaiah pulled off his jacket and tucked it under her head. "Don't make this into something it isn't." "What is it?" "A bad night." Her lips trembled. Whether from cold or fear, he could not tell. Sunday bell kicked again. Isaiah crawled toward the divider. The mare's hind leg was trapped beneath a bent rail, and blood ran through the muddy water around her hoof. He found the trailer's tire iron, wedged it beneath the rail, and pushed. Metal screamed. So did the horse. "Come on," Isaiah whispered. "Come on, Belle." The rail lifted an inch. The mare tore her leg free and collapsed. Outside, thunder rolled across the ridge. Isaiah looked through the open trailer door. The water had climbed nearly another foot. The truck was gone, carried from the cottonwood and spinning downstream. The trailer would not hold much longer. He returned to Caroline. "We have to move." "Where?" "There's an old loading platform uphill. I can't climb." "You don't have to." She looked at him, understanding what he meant. "No. Your shoulder?" "My shoulder isn't the problem." "What is?" He glanced at the trailer wall as another impact shook it. "The next 5 minutes." He lifted her carefully. Caroline cried into his neck as he carried her into the flood. The loading platform had been abandoned before Isaiah started working at Holloway Ranch. Only 6 weathered posts and a narrow walkway remained, but it stood on higher ground. He moved toward it 1 step at a time. Halfway there, the current swept his feet out. They went under. The water was black, violent, filled with sand and branches. Isaiah held Caroline against his chest with one arm and clawed for anything solid with the other. His hand caught barbed wire. The wire sliced his palm, but he held on. Caroline surfaced, coughing. "Isaiah!" "I've got you." The fence pulled loose from one post. He reached for another strand, dragged them toward a patch of grass, and forced his boots beneath him. When they reached the platform, he pushed Caroline onto the boards and climbed after her. Behind them, the trailer tore free. It rolled once in the flood, then disappeared into the darkness with Sunday Belle still inside. Caroline saw it go. "No." Isaiah grabbed her face gently. "Look at me. She's gone. Look at me, Caroline." Her eyes returned to his. "Breathe." She tried. The rain struck the platform roof like gravel. Isaiah checked her pulse, wrapped his shirt around the cut on her head, and pressed his body against hers to keep her warm. For nearly an hour, they waited above the flood while lightning split the fields around them. Caroline drifted in and out. Once, she whispered, "I never thanked you." "For what?" "For the day at the North Pasture." He knew the day she meant. 3 years earlier, before either of them had allowed silence to grow complicated, he had found her sitting beside a stillborn calf, crying where no one could see. Her mother had died 6 months before, and Caroline had been trying so hard to seem strong that grief came out in strange places. Isaiah had sat beside her without speaking. He had never told anyone. "You don't owe me for that," he said. "I owe you for tonight. You can thank me by staying awake." She managed a weak smile. Then a light moved across the ridge. Isaiah stood, waving both arms. A ranch utility vehicle appeared through the rain, followed by 2 trucks and the county rescue crew. Men shouted. A spotlight found the platform. Caroline's father was the first one down the embankment. Wade Holloway was 63, broad-shouldered, silver-haired, and still carried himself like the rodeo champion he had been 40 years earlier. He splashed through the mud with Sheriff Daniel Price behind him. When Wade reached the platform and saw his daughter alive, his face broke open. "Carrie." Isaiah helped lower her into the rescuer's arms. Wade climbed up, held Caroline's face, and closed his eyes. For 1 second, relief stripped away everything hard in him. Then Caroline reached for Isaiah. "Dad, he saved me." Wade looked at the blood on Isaiah's hand, the torn shirt, the mud covering his body. "I know," he said. But his voice had changed. Not much. Just enough. Isaiah had heard that tone before. It was the sound of a door closing before anyone admitted there had been a doorway at all. At the hospital in Abilene, doctors treated Caroline for a dislocated shoulder, a concussion, 2 cracked ribs, and hypothermia. Isaiah refused treatment until Wade ordered a nurse to look at his hand. 14 stitches, a strained shoulder, bruised ribs, nothing he had not survived before. Near dawn, Isaiah sat alone in the waiting room with a paper cup of coffee cooling between his hands. Sheriff Price came through the automatic doors. Daniel Price had grown up 2 counties away and spoke slowly enough that people sometimes mistook patience for softness. Isaiah never had. "You remember exactly where the truck left the road?" Daniel asked. "About 60 yards past the limestone marker." "Any skid marks?" "Couldn't see through the water." "Caroline say anything about losing control?" "She said the trailer rolled." Daniel sat across from him. "Wade says she called from the gas station outside Merkel around 5. Said the trailer brakes felt strange." Isaiah looked up. "What kind of strange?" He didn't ask. He should have. Daniel studied him. "You thinking mechanical failure?" "I'm thinking I serviced that trailer 2 weeks ago." "And?" "And the brakes were good." Wade entered before Daniel could respond. He had changed into dry clothes, but his boots were still muddy. His face looked older than it had the day before. "Sheriff, doctor wants to speak with you about the accident report." Daniel stood. He glanced at Isaiah, then left. Wade remained by the doorway. For a moment, neither man spoke. Isaiah expected gratitude. He did not need it, but he expected it. Instead, Wade said, "Caroline told me what happened out there. She was in and out. She remembers enough. That's good. She said you held her all night." Isaiah stared at him. "She had hypothermia." "I understand that." "Do you?" Wade's jaw tightened. "You've worked for me 8 years. 9. I've treated you fairly." Isaiah set down the coffee. "You came in here to talk about fair?" "I came to protect my daughter." "From what?" Wade looked toward the hospital corridor. "From confusion, from gratitude turning into something it isn't." Isaiah felt the first heat of anger beneath his exhaustion. "You think she's confused?" "I think she nearly died." "So do I. And I think a man in your position should be careful." "My position." "Don't twist my words." "I'm not touching them." Wade stepped closer and lowered his voice. "People talk. They take a situation, turn it into something ugly, and before long, nobody remembers what actually happened. Then maybe you should worry about the people talking? I worry about my family. Your daughter isn't a family reputation. She's a grown woman. She's also vulnerable. And you think I'd take advantage of that? Wade did not answer. He did not have to. Isaiah stood. The waiting room seemed to shrink around them. I carried your daughter through a flood, Isaiah said quietly. I kept her breathing when the water took her truck. I tore my hand open because the fence was the only thing keeping us from going under. And before she was even out of the hospital, you decided the danger she needs protection from is me. That's not what I said. It's exactly what you said. Wade looked away first. When he spoke again, his voice was colder. You'll receive 3 months' pay. Pack your things from the bunkhouse when the storm clears. Isaiah stared at him. You're firing me. I think it's best. For who? For everyone. No. Say it right. Wade's eyes hardened. Don't push me. Say what you mean. I mean, you will stay away from Caroline. Or what? I'll make sure no ranch from here to San Angelo hires you. Isaiah almost laughed, but nothing about the moment was funny. You're threatening me after I saved her life. I'm drawing a boundary. You're afraid. Wade's face changed, only slightly. But Isaiah saw it. He had struck something deeper than anger. You don't know what I'm afraid of, Wade said. No, but I know it isn't me. Wade opened the waiting room door. You have until Friday. Isaiah did not answer. He walked past him and left the hospital as dawn broke red beneath the departing storm. By noon, the flood had begun to recede. Isaiah returned to Holloway Ranch in an old Ford pickup that had belonged to his father. The truck had faded blue paint, a dented tailgate, and nearly 300,000 miles on the engine. Isaiah trusted it more than most people. The ranch spread over 12,000 acres of rolling grassland, mesquite, creek bottoms, and wheat fields west of Abilene. Wade's grandfather had started with 600 acres after World War II. Wade had spent his adult life turning the Holloway name into one of the most respected cattle operations in Taylor County. Isaiah had helped build the last 9 years of that reputation. He had repaired frozen water lines at midnight, delivered calves in sleet, trained young horses that no one else could handle, and worked 3 days without sleep during the wildfire season. He had never asked Wade for special treatment. He had only asked to be judged by the work. Now every mile of fence looked different. Not because it had changed, because he understood how little the work had purchased. The bunkhouse sat behind the equipment barn. Isaiah parked outside and found his duffel bags on the porch. Someone had already packed part of his life for him. Ruben Alvarez stepped from the barn. At 56, Ruben had been Holloway Ranch's foreman for almost 20 years. He wore a sweat-darkened straw hat and carried worry in the set of his shoulders. I told him not to touch your room, Ruben said. Who packed it? Clay. Isaiah nodded. Clay Holloway was Wade's nephew, 34 years old and always eager to perform loyalty when Wade was watching. Ruben came closer. I heard what happened at the hospital. Then you heard enough. I heard Wade lost his mind. He knew what he was doing. Caroline know? I haven't spoken to her. She's asking for you. Isaiah looked toward the main house on the hill. Then he can explain why I'm gone. Ruben rubbed a hand across his mouth. There's something else. He led Isaiah behind the barn, where the damaged horse trailer had been hauled after rescuers found it 3 miles downstream. The frame was twisted. One wheel was missing. Mud filled the interior. Sunday Bell had somehow escaped through the torn roof and was found alive with a deep leg wound in a pecan grove. Isaiah walked around the trailer. What am I looking at? Reuben crouched near the left axle. This. The brake line hung loose beneath the frame. Isaiah knelt. At first glance, storm damage might have explained it. The trailer had rolled, struck trees, and traveled miles through debris. But the cut in the line was clean. Too clean. Isaiah touched the edge with his thumb. A branch didn't do that, Reuben said. No. Could have happened after the wreck. Isaiah examined the surrounding metal, not without bending the bracket. Reuben looked toward the hill. You think someone cut it? I know someone cut it. Why? Isaiah stood slowly. Who was supposed to use the trailer yesterday? Wade. The answer came too fast. Reuben seemed to realize it at the same moment. Wade had planned to haul 2 bulls to an auction in Coleman County. He had changed his schedule when a buyer arrived unexpectedly. Caroline took the trailer instead to retrieve Sunday Bell from a veterinary clinic. The person who cut that brake line might not have known about the change. Reuben's voice dropped. This wasn't meant for her. Isaiah looked at the ruined trailer and felt the days shift beneath him. No, he said. I don't think it was. Behind them, boots crossed the gravel. Clay Holloway came around the barn. He was tall like Wade, but leaner, with pale eyes and a permanent expression of mild offense. He stopped when he saw Isaiah beside the trailer. You're supposed to be packing. I was. Clay noticed the brake line in Isaiah's hand. What are you doing? Checking the damage. Not your job anymore. Sheriff needs to see this. Clay's face remained still, but his eyes dropped to the line. See what? It was cut. That trailer flipped through a flood. This happened before. You can tell that by looking? I can. Clay stepped closer. You've had a rough night. Maybe you're seeing what you want to see. What would I want to see? A reason to stay involved. Isaiah studied him. Clay's boots were clean. His jeans were not. There was a dark streak of grease near the right pocket. It meant nothing. Everyone on a ranch carried grease somewhere. Still, Isaiah remembered it. Reuben said, "We're calling Daniel." Clay looked at him. Wade said no one touches anything until the insurance inspector arrives. This isn't an insurance problem, Isaiah said. Clay's gaze returned to him. You should take the money and leave. You sound like your uncle. My uncle gave you more than most men would have. Isaiah took one step forward. Reuben moved between them. Enough. Clay smiled without warmth. Now that temper's going to prove Wade right. Isaiah felt the words land exactly where Clay intended. He looked at Reuben, then at the brake line. Call the sheriff. He picked up his duffel bags and walked to his truck. As he drove away, he saw a figure standing at the upstairs window of the main house. Caroline. Her arm was in a sling. Even from a distance, Isaiah could tell she was watching him leave. He did not stop. He told himself it was because Wade had made the boundary clear. The truth was harder. If he saw Caroline's face, he was not sure he could drive away at all. Isaiah moved into the small house his grandmother had left him near the town of Red Bluff, 17 miles south of the ranch. The town consisted of a church, a feed store, a diner, 2 gas pumps, and a brick courthouse annex no one seemed to use. His grandmother's house stood at the edge of what had once been a thriving black farming community. Most of the original families were gone. Some sold during the droughts, some lost land to tax liens. Some watched children leave for Dallas, Austin, or Houston and never return. Isaiah's father, Nathan Cole, had refused to sell. He had died still refusing. The house smelled of cedar, dust, and the lavender soap Isaiah's grandmother used until the final week of her life. He opened windows, carried in his bags, and sat on the edge of the old sofa as rainwater dripped from the pecan trees outside. For the first time in 9 years, he did not know where he was supposed to be the next morning. His phone rang. Caroline's. He let it ring twice before answering. Hello? Why didn't you come see me? Her voice was strained, angry, and wounded at once. Your father was there. He told me you left. I was fired. Silence. What? He fired me at the hospital. No. Yes. For saving me? For being close enough to save you. She breathed slowly. I'm coming over. You're not. Don't tell me what I'm not doing. You have a concussion. I also have a truck. Not anymore. That isn't funny. It wasn't meant to be. He heard movement on her end, then a door close. Did he tell you to stay away from me? She asked. Isaiah leaned forward, elbows on his knees. Yes. And you agreed? No. But you left. He owns the ranch. He doesn't own me. I know. Do you? Isaiah closed his eyes. Outside, water fell steadily from the roof. Caroline, you almost died last night. And you almost died saving me. That doesn't mean we should make decisions today. You sound like him. The accusation cut deeper than he expected. I am nothing like him. Then stop deciding what I'm too confused to understand. Isaiah stood and walked to the window. Across the road, cattle grazed beneath a clearing sky. What do you understand? He asked. Her voice softened. I understand that when the truck went into the creek, I thought I was going to die without ever telling you. He did not speak. Telling me what? You know. I want to hear you say it. She exhaled unsteady. I love you. The room became completely still. Isaiah had imagined those words. Not often, because imagining them had always seemed dangerous. But on long drives, in quiet barns, on evenings when Caroline sat beside him on the tailgate and talked about everything except the space between them. He had imagined them. He had never imagined hearing them after her father threw him off the ranch. Isaiah? I'm here. Say something. I've loved you for 4 years. Her breath caught. Then why did you never tell me? Because you were Wade Holloway's daughter. That's not an answer. It is where I come from. And where is that? A place where men like me learn the difference between being welcomed and being included. My father trusted you. With his cattle, with his horses, with his fences, not with his name. She was silent. Isaiah regretted the harshness, but not the truth. Then she said, I don't care about his name. You will when you have to live without it. You think I'm weak? No, I think losing family hurts even when family's wrong. Then let it hurt. He pressed his hand against the window frame. Caroline. No, you don't get to save my life and then disappear because my father told you to. This isn't only about him. What else is it about? The trailer. She waited. Isaiah told her about the brake line. By the time he finished, her anger had changed into something colder. My father was supposed to drive it. Yes. Who knows? Reuben. Clay walked in while we were looking. Did Clay seem surprised? Isaiah thought of the grease on his jeans. Not enough. Are you saying Clay did it? I'm saying we don't know. Why would anyone want to kill my father? That's the question you need to ask before you come anywhere near me. You think I'm in danger? I think someone cut a brake line on a trailer you were driving. She became quiet. Then she said, I'll call Daniel. Reuben may already have. I'll call him anyway. Good. And Isaiah? Yes. You're not gone. He looked through the window toward the storm-broken horizon. No, he said. I'm not gone. Sheriff Price arrived at the ruined trailer that afternoon with a county mechanic and a state investigator. By then, Clay had moved it. Only 30 yards, he claimed, to clear access to the barn. The movement disturbed the mud beneath the frame and destroyed any footprints that might have remained. Daniel was not pleased. Isaiah learned this from Reuben, who called just before dark. They took the line, Reuben said. Daniel asked who had access. Everyone on the ranch. Pretty much. What did Clay say? That he was in Abilene the night before the accident. Can anyone confirm? Says he had drinks with a woman. Name? Wouldn't give one. Isaiah leaned against his kitchen counter. Where's Wade? Locked in his office. Caroline's been raising hell since she found out you were fired. Isaiah almost smiled. How's she feeling? Mean enough to recover. That sounds right. Reuben hesitated. There's something you should know. What? Wade met with Silas Mercer 3 times this month. Isaiah knew the name. Everyone did. Silas Mercer owned Mercer Development Group, a company that had spent the last 5 years buying ranch land along the proposed route of a state freight corridor. He dressed like a cattleman, spoke like a banker, and had never repaired a fence in his life. Why would Wade meet with Mercer? Claims they were discussing a land easement. Across Holloway? Across Holloway and south through Red Bluff. Isaiah straightened. My grandmother's place? Maybe. Mercer's been approaching owners all along County Road 12. Isaiah thought of the families who still owned narrow strips of land near Red Bluff. Many had inherited property without clean titles. Some were elderly. Some lived out of state. They would be easy to pressure. What kind of freight corridor? Private access road, from what I heard. Connects the highway to a distribution site they want near the rail spur. That road would cut the creek basin. And a dozen small properties. Why would someone kill Wade over an easement? Reuben lowered his voice. Because he changed his mind. When? Last week? Isaiah remembered the trailer. The brake line might have been cut after Wade rejected the deal. Did Wade tell Mercer no? In front of Clay. Isaiah stared at the darkening window. Clay had managed much of the ranch's paperwork for the last 2 years. He pushed Wade toward expansion, new loans, larger herds, and expensive equipment. If the ranch was financially strained, Mercer's deal might have been worth millions. Reuben, how much debt does Holloway carry? I don't know. You know everything that happens there. Not the books. Who does? Clay. That night, Caroline left the ranch through the old eastern gate. Her father had taken her keys, so she borrowed a utility truck from the horse barn and drove one-handed to Red Bluff. Isaiah saw the headlights turn into his driveway just after 9. He stepped onto the porch as she climbed down. Her left arm was secured in a sling. A bandage crossed her forehead. She wore jeans, muddy boots, and one of Wade's old ranch coats over a white hospital shirt. "You shouldn't be driving," Isaiah said. "You shouldn't be waiting on the porch like an angry grandfather. I'm 37. You're acting 80. She stopped at the bottom step. For a moment, all the arguments vanished. Isaiah looked at the bruises along her jaw, the cut on her temple, the way she held her ribs when she breathed. Caroline looked at the stitches in his palm and the stiffness in his shoulder. Then she climbed the steps and kissed him. It was not cautious. It was not grateful. It held 4 years of interrupted conversations, restrained glances, and decisions neither of them had been brave enough to make. Isaiah's good hand settled against her back. He felt her shake. When they separated, Caroline rested her forehead against his chest. "I thought the water had taken you," she whispered. "It didn't. I heard you under it, then I couldn't see you. I had the fence. You had barbed wire. It worked." She looked up at him. "You always do that." "Do what?" "Turn pain into a tool." He had no answer. She entered the house and looked around at the old photographs, the braided rugs, and the wooden clock that had stopped at 2:17 years earlier. "I haven't been here since your grandmother's funeral," she said. "You were the only Holloway who came." "My father wanted to." "No, he didn't." He stood at the end of the road for 10 minutes. Isaiah turned toward her. "What?" "I saw his truck. He never got out." "Why?" "I don't know." Isaiah looked at a photograph on the mantel. His father stood beside his grandmother in front of a tractor. Nathan Cole had been tall and serious, with the same deep-set eyes Isaiah saw in the mirror. Wade had known Nathan. Neither man spoke about it. After Dalton, Caroline sat carefully on the sofa. "My father denied the trailer was sabotaged. He's scared. He's furious. Same thing, sometimes. He said Daniel is turning storm damage into a criminal investigation because you filled his head with accusations. Daniel doesn't need my help thinking. I told him that. I'm sure he appreciated it." She almost smiled, then winced from her ribs. Isaiah sat beside her. "What do you know about Silas Mercer?" "More than I did this morning. He offered Dad $6 million for a permanent road easement and an option on the southern pasture." "That's a lot for an easement." "It isn't only a road. Mercer wants water rights." Isaiah frowned. The southern pasture bordered dry Cedar Creek, which ran underground through limestone for much of the year. Old wells in that area remained reliable even during drought. "What does he need the water for?" "He says the distribution site." "And you believe him?" "No." She pulled a folded paper from her coat. "I found this in Dad's office." Isaiah opened it. It was a survey map showing the proposed access road. The route crossed Holloway land, then continued south through several small parcels around Red Bluff. One parcel was outlined in yellow. Cole Ayers property. Isaiah felt his jaw tighten. "My house." "Not just the house, 48 acres behind it. My family owns that land. Mercer's map marks it as acquisition pending. No one contacted me. Maybe they contacted someone else. There is no one else." Caroline watched him. "Are you sure?" He looked at the map again. His grandmother had 3 children. Isaiah's father was the youngest and the only one who remained in Red Bluff. His 2 aunts moved to California decades earlier. Both were dead. Their children might still hold inherited interests if the estate had not been settled correctly. Texas property law could turn one piece of land into dozens of fractional claims over generations. Mercer would know that. So he buys one heir, Isaiah said, then forces a partition sale. Caroline nodded. Dad found out. That's why he backed out of the deal. How do you know? I heard him arguing with Clay. Dad said Mercer was stealing land from families who didn't understand what they were signing. Isaiah folded the map. And Clay? Said business wasn't charity. Sounds like him. He also said the ranch wouldn't survive another year without the Mercer money. The room grew quiet. Isaiah looked at her. Is Holloway in trouble? I don't know how much. Dad doesn't share financial details with me. But Clay knows. Yes. The porch boards creaked outside. Isaiah stood immediately and turned off the lamp. Caroline froze. A shadow crossed the curtain. Isaiah moved toward the door, picked up the heavy flashlight beside it, and opened the door fast. A woman raised both hands. Easy. She was in her late 40s, wearing a raincoat and square-framed glasses. Her dark hair was tied at the back of her neck. Isaiah recognized her after a second. Lena Brooks? She had grown up in Red Bluff and left for law school 25 years earlier. Isaiah had not seen her since his grandmother's funeral. Lena lowered her hands. You still greet visitors like Nathan. What are you doing here? Trying not to get hit with a flashlight. Caroline came to the door. Lena looked between them but made no comment. I need to speak with you, Isaiah. At 9:30 at night? I drove from Dallas. Why? Because Silas Mercer filed a petition this afternoon seeking partition and sale of the coal property. Isaiah felt the last uncertainty disappear. How did he get an interest? He bought shares from 2 descendants of your Aunt Lucille. For how much? $20,000. The land is worth 10 times that. With water access, more. Lena opened her leather bag and handed him a copy of the filing. Mercer wants an expedited hearing. He claims the property cannot be fairly divided. How long do we have? Not long. Caroline stepped closer. Why file now? Lena looked at her. You're Wade Holloway's daughter. Yes. Then you should ask your father why Mercer believes he controls the county judge. Caroline's expression hardened. What does that mean? It means Mercer has been purchasing land through shell companies for 3 years, and every contested sale has ended in his favor. Isaiah read the first page of the petition. Why are you involved? Lena glanced toward the photographs inside the house. Your father called me 6 months before he died. Isaiah looked up. He knew? He suspected someone was assembling claims around Red Bluff. He asked me to research the deeds. Why didn't you tell me? Because he asked me not to until I had proof. He's been dead 2 years. And I've spent 2 years finding it. She removed another folder. Inside were copies of land deeds, corporate records, tax filings, and handwritten notes. Lena pointed to 3 company names. They all lead back to Mercer Development. He's targeting heirs' property. He buys small interests from distant relatives, petitions for a forced sale, and acquires the whole parcel below market value. Caroline said, My father would never agree to that. Maybe not knowingly, Lena replied, but Holloway Ranch appears on several survey agreements. Isaiah felt Caroline stiffen beside him. Lena continued. Those agreements gave Mercer access to map wells, roads, and mineral sites on neighboring land. Signed by who? Isaiah asked. Lena turned the page. Clay Holloway's signature appeared at the bottom. Caroline stared at it. He didn't have authority. He represented that he did. Isaiah thought of the cut brake line, the moved trailer, the grease on Clay's jeans. How much money did Mercer pay him? I haven't found that yet. Find it. Lena gave him a level look. I didn't drive 3 hours to be ordered around. Isaiah handed the file back. No, you drove 3 hours because my father asked you to protect this land, and someone just tried to kill the man standing between Mercer and the deal. Lena's eyes narrowed. What are you talking about? They told her. By 11, the three of them sat around the kitchen table beneath a single yellow light. Lena believed the brake sabotage changed everything. If Mercer or Clay is connected, she said, the land case may be leverage, intimidation, or both. Can we stop the sale? Caroline asked. Temporarily. Isaiah has a right to request physical division instead of auction, but Mercer's attorneys will argue the parcel's value depends on keeping it whole. Isaiah looked at the survey map. What if we prove fraud? Then we challenge the shares he purchased. How? Show that the sellers were deceived about value or ownership. But that takes time. Caroline touched the outlined road with one finger. What happens if Mercer gets this route? He controls direct access from the highway to the rail spur, Lena said. He also controls several major wells. Isaiah looked at her. This isn't a distribution site. No. What is it? I don't know yet. A vehicle approached outside. Headlights swept across the room. Caroline stood. That's my father. Wade pounded on the door. Isaiah opened it before the second knock. Wade stood on the porch with Reuben behind him. His gaze moved from Isaiah to Caroline to Lena, and the documents spread across the table. Get in the truck, Wade told his daughter. No. You left the ranch injured without telling anyone. I'm 32 years old. You have a concussion. And you fired the man who kept me alive. This is not the place. It's exactly the place. Wade stepped inside. Isaiah blocked his path. You don't enter this house without being invited? The two men faced each other. Reuben remained on the porch, watching carefully. Wade lowered his voice. Now move. No. Caroline came beside Isaiah. I came here because someone cut the brake line on my trailer, and you're more interested in controlling me than finding out who did it. I told you the sheriff is investigating. You called the investigation nonsense. Wade looked at Lena. What are you doing here? Protecting a client. From what? Your business partner. Mercer is not my partner. Clay made him one. She showed him the survey agreement. Wade read the signature. His face darkened. Where did you get this? Public records. Clay had no authority to sign. He used Holloway Ranch letterhead and listed himself as managing partner. He is not a partner. Mercer's lawyers may disagree. Wade turned to Caroline. Get your coat. I'm already wearing one. Caroline. No, you don't get to order your way past this. Wade's control began to crack. I nearly lost you last night. And Isaiah is the reason you didn't. I know that. Then look at him and say what you did. Wade said nothing. Caroline's eyes filled, but her voice remained steady. You fired him because you're afraid I love him. The silence that followed seemed to extend beyond the room, beyond the porch. Across all the years, the three of them had avoided the truth. Wade looked at Isaiah, then at his daughter. You don't know what you're saying. I know exactly what I'm saying. No. You are hurt, frightened, and confusing dependence with love. Caroline laughed once, bitterly. I loved him before the storm. Wade's face went pale. Isaiah had expected anger. What he saw instead was grief. Old grief, the kind that did not belong to the present moment. You will not do this, Wade said. Do what? Repeat the past. Isaiah stepped forward. What past? Wade looked at him sharply. Then he realized he had said too much. Lena closed the folder. You should answer him. This is family business. Isaiah's voice hardened. You made it my business when you fired me. Wade turned toward the door. Caroline caught his sleeve with her good hand. Dad, what passed? He pulled free. Ask his father. The words landed before Wade could stop them. Isaiah stared at him. My father is dead. Wade's face tightened. I know. What happened between you? Nothing. You're lying. Wade walked onto the porch. Isaiah followed. Did you know about Mercer targeting my family's land? Wade stopped at the steps. I found out last month and said nothing. I was trying to stop it. By protecting Clay? I didn't know Clay signed those papers. You knew enough to cancel the deal. Wade turned. I canceled it because Mercer's road would destroy Red Bluff and drain water from half the southern basin. Then help us prove it. I will handle Mercer. That worked well with the trailer. Reuben looked down. Wade's expression turned dangerous. Watch yourself. I have been watching myself around you for 9 years. Isaiah, Caroline said quietly. But he could not stop now. You trusted me with every living thing on your property except your daughter. You praised my judgment until it challenged yours. You called me family when a wildfire was at your fence. But the moment Caroline said she loved me, I became a threat. Wade stepped closer. You want the truth? Yes. The truth is, your father stood where you're standing and made promises he couldn't keep. Isaiah felt something cold move through him. What promises? Wade looked toward the dark road. Ask Lena why she really came back. Isaiah turned. Lena's face had changed. You know, he said. She did not answer. Tell me. Wade descended the steps. Caroline called after him, but he kept walking. Reuben paused beside Isaiah. I'm sorry, he said. For what? Reuben looked toward Wade's truck. For how long everyone kept quiet. Then he followed. Caroline stayed with Isaiah that night, not in his bed. They sat in the kitchen until dawn, trying to make Lena explain what Wade meant. She gave them only part of the truth. 28 years earlier, Wade Holloway and Nathan Cole had attempted to purchase 600 acres south of Red Bluff together. The land contained the most reliable spring in the county. The partnership collapsed before closing. Wade bought the land alone. Nathan lost nearly everything he had invested. What kind of partnership? Isaiah asked. Cattle and water rights, Lena said. Why did it collapse? I don't know. You said everyone kept quiet. I said no such thing. Your face did. Lena removed her glasses and rubbed the bridge of her nose. Nathan believed Wade betrayed him. Did he? The documents say Wade completed the purchase through a separate company. That sounds like betrayal. Documents don't show why. Caroline sat across from Isaiah. My father never mentioned owning land with yours. He didn't own it with him. He took it from him. We don't know that. Isaiah looked at her. She did not retreat, but pain crossed her face. "I'm not defending what he did to you," she said. "I'm saying we need the whole truth." The whole truth arrived 3 days later in an envelope with no return address. Isaiah found it beneath the front door. Inside was a photocopy of a bank transfer showing a payment of $400,000 from Mercer Development to an account controlled by Clay Holloway. A note had been written across the bottom. "Ask who owns Holloway Ranch after the bank calls the loan." Isaiah called Lena, then Daniel. By afternoon, they learned the ranch carried nearly $9 million in debt. Clay had convinced Wade to expand the herd during a period of high cattle prices, purchase neighboring acreage, and build a state-of-the-art breeding facility. Then drought increased feed costs. Disease reduced the calf crop. Interest rates rose. The ranch remained valuable, but cash flow had collapsed. Mercer's $6 million payment would have delayed foreclosure. Without it, the bank could call the loan within months. Caroline sat in Lena's temporary office above the Red Bluff feed store and read the loan summary twice. "My father didn't tell me any of this," Lena said. "He may have been trying to protect you. He was trying to control what I knew. Those aren't always different." Isaiah stood near the window. Clay took money from Mercer before Wade approved the deal. "Looks that way," Lena said. "Could Mercer call it a consulting fee?" "He already has." Daniel leaned against a filing cabinet. "The payment isn't enough to connect either man to attempted murder." "What about the brake line?" Caroline asked. State lab confirmed a cutting tool was used, but no prints survived. Clay had access. So did 30 other people. He moved the trailer. He says Wade told him to. Caroline looked at Daniel. "Did Dad?" "No." "Then arrest Clay for evidence tampering." Moving damaged property isn't automatically evidence tampering, especially before anyone knew a crime occurred. He knew. Prove it. Caroline stood too quickly and caught herself against the desk. Isaiah moved toward her. "I'm fine." "You're dizzy?" "I'm angry." "Sit down, angry." She gave him a look but sat. Daniel placed a photograph on the desk. It showed tire tracks behind the equipment barn. "We found these near the trailer's storage area. Narrow tread, probably an older utility cart." "Holloway has 4, Isaiah said. 3. One disappeared 2 days before the storm." Caroline frowned. "Which one?" "The green Kawasaki." She looked at Isaiah. "Clay uses it." "So do half the ranch hands," Daniel said. "And before you ask, no, we haven't found it." Lena tapped the anonymous bank record. "Someone inside Mercer's operation sent this." "Or inside Holloway," Daniel said. Caroline shook her head. Only Clay and Dad had access to the financial files. "Maybe a bank employee?" Isaiah looked at the handwritten note. "Whoever sent it wants us to connect the debt to the sabotage." Daniel nodded. "That doesn't mean the connection is real." "What do you think happened?" "I think someone cut the line expecting Wade to tow that trailer. I think the same someone knew his schedule, and I think accusing the obvious suspect too early is a good way to miss the person standing behind him." The sheriff left to interview ranch employees. Caroline watched through the window as his vehicle pulled away. Then she said, "I'm going home." Isaiah turned. "Why?" "To confront Clay." "No." She stared at him. He corrected himself. "Not alone." "You're not allowed on the ranch." I stopped caring. Holloway Ranch felt different when Isaiah returned. Men who had worked beside him for years glanced away as he and Caroline crossed the yard. Some nodded, others retreated into the barn. Fear had spread faster than truth. Clay was in Wade's office. Wade stood behind the desk with the bank documents in front of him. Reuben waited near the wall. Clay looked irritated rather than frightened. "You brought him back," Wade said to Caroline. "I did. This is still my ranch." "For how long?" The question struck hard. Wade looked at the documents. "Where did you get those?" "Does it matter?" "It matters if someone stole private records." Clay stood. This is exactly what Mercer warned us about. People smell trouble and suddenly everyone thinks they own a piece of your life. Isaiah closed the door behind him. "You would know." Clay's eyes narrowed. Caroline put the bank transfer on the desk. $400,000. Wade read it, then looked at his nephew. "What is this?" Clay barely glanced at the paper. "A development advisory fee. You told me Mercer hadn't paid anything." "He hadn't paid the ranch. He paid you. For 2 years of work assembling the corridor." Wade's hands flattened on the desk. "You had no authority." "I had every authority you gave me when you stopped paying attention." Reuben shifted near the wall. Wade's voice became quiet. "Be careful." Clay laughed. "You want careful now? After borrowing against land your grandfather paid off? After rejecting the only deal that keeps this place alive because you suddenly discovered a conscience?" "I rejected it because Mercer lied." "Mercer does business. He targets families who can't afford lawyers. He buys legal interests from willing sellers. For pennies. That isn't our problem." Isaiah said, "It became your problem when you mapped my land." Clay looked at him. "You were never supposed to see those surveys." The room went still. Caroline stepped forward. "What did you say?" Clay realized his mistake. "I meant they were confidential." "No," Isaiah said. "You meant the plan depended on people not knowing." Wade came around the desk. "Did you cut the trailer line?" Clay's face hardened. "You believe him over me?" "I asked a question. I was in Abilene." "With who?" "That's none of your business." "It became my business when Caroline nearly died." Clay looked at Caroline. For the first time, genuine emotion crossed his face. "I would never hurt her." "That is not an answer," Wade said. "I didn't cut anything." "Where's the Kawasaki?" "I don't know." "You used it Tuesday." "So did Reuben." Reuben pushed away from the wall. "Don't drag me into your mud." Clay smiled thinly. "Everybody thinks you're loyal because you speak softly. Maybe you're tired of waiting for Wade to give you something worth having." Reuben's face changed. Isaiah knew that look. He had seen it before fights, fires, and animal attacks. He moved between them before Reuben reached Clay. "Not here." Reuben stopped. Clay adjusted his cuffs. "See? Isaiah always knows his place. Too bad Caroline doesn't." Wade struck him. The sound cracked through the office. Clay stumbled against the desk, one hand to his mouth. Caroline stared at her father. Wade looked almost as shocked as everyone else. Clay straightened slowly. Blood marked his lip. Then he smiled. "You just made this easier." "What does that mean?" Wade asked. "It means Mercer doesn't need your permission anymore." He pulled a document from his coat and placed it on the desk. It was a notice of default. The ranch's largest loan had been purchased from the bank by a Mercer-controlled finance company. Wade read the first lines. His face emptied. Clay said, "The note comes due in 30 days. You sold our debt to him. The bank sold it because you missed 2 covenants and refused the easement. You arranged this. I saved us. You handed him the ranch. I handed you a choice. Wade looked up. Clay's voice softened. Sign the corridor agreement and the debt is extended. Refuse and Mercer forecloses. Caroline said, after everything, you still expect us to believe he'll honor that? He doesn't need your belief? Isaiah looked at the document. Why cut the brake line if Mercer could take the ranch legally? Clay wiped blood from his mouth. Maybe because someone wanted Wade dead before he signed. Wade stared at him. Clay continued. You think I'm the only person who benefits from this land? Ask your friend Isaiah what Red Bluff becomes once Mercer's money arrives. Ask how many people would rather see you dead than lose their homes. It was a cruel argument. It was also possible. Clay walked to the door. Wade said, you leave this ranch, don't come back. Clay paused. I already own 10% through grandmother's trust. You'll get nothing else. I don't need anything else from you. He looked at Caroline. For what it's worth, I am sorry you were in that truck. Then he left. A false calm settled over Holloway Ranch during the next week. No one made another attempt on Wade's life. No threatening notes arrived. Mercer's attorneys agreed to delay the foreclosure discussion for 10 days while Wade reviewed the corridor contract. It felt, briefly, as if the crisis had become paperwork. That was the false safety. Isaiah knew it even while he wanted to believe otherwise. Caroline recovered at the ranch, but visited Red Bluff daily. She and Isaiah learned how to occupy the same rooms without pretending the storm had created what existed between them. They argued. She hated how quickly he withdrew when uncertain. He hated how quickly she challenged danger when afraid. She accused him of treating love like another animal he could calm by, speaking softly and keeping distance. He told her she mistook defiance for freedom. Then they apologized. Not perfectly, honestly. One evening, they sat on the hood of his truck beside dry Cedar Creek as the sunset turned the water copper. Caroline rested her head against his shoulder. My father watched us from the ridge today, she said. I know. You didn't look at him. I knew he was there. He says Mercer's coming Friday. For what? To renegotiate. There is no renegotiation. He thinks he can preserve the ranch and remove Red Bluff from the route. Mercer doesn't need Red Bluff only for the road. He needs the water. Caroline looked at the creek. Lena found permit applications. Isaiah turned. What applications? Mercer filed through another company to build a high-volume data center near the rail spur. Isaiah understood immediately. Cooling water. Millions of gallons. In a drought basin. Yes. That would lower every well around. Here. Including Holloway's. Then why buy the ranch? To control the strongest wells first. Isaiah climbed off the hood. Caroline watched him pace. This isn't only land theft, he said. He'll destroy every small ranch that depends on the aquifer. Lena is preparing an environmental challenge. That takes months. So does building a data center. Foreclosure takes less. Caroline came to him. What are you thinking? That Mercer doesn't only want Wade's signature, he wants silence. Whose? Anyone who can show he knew the water impact before buying the land. She looked toward the creek. My father has the original hydrology report. How do you know? I saw it in his safe. Does Mercer know? Probably. Then your father is still in danger. They returned to the ranch after dark. The main house was empty. Wade's truck was gone. So was the safe. Reuben found them in the office. "He left an hour ago," he said. "With who?" "Silas. Mercer." Caroline's face drained. "Where did they go?" "Said they were meeting at the old livestock pavilion." "Why there?" "Mercer wanted privacy." Isaiah was already moving. The Taylor County Livestock Pavilion had been closed for renovations after storm damage weakened part of the roof. It sat beside the fairgrounds, miles from the nearest occupied building. As Isaiah drove, Caroline called Wade repeatedly. No answer. She called Daniel. He was 20 minutes away. They reached the pavilion first. Mercer's black SUV stood near the loading entrance. Wade's truck was parked beside it. The building's interior lights were on. Isaiah stopped Caroline before she opened her door. "You stay in the truck?" "No. We don't know what's inside. My father is inside. And someone already tried to kill him." "You expect me to sit here?" "I expect you to call Daniel and keep the line open." She glared at him. He held her gaze. "This is not about control. It is about not giving me two people to save." The words hurt her. He saw it, but she nodded. Isaiah entered through a side door. The pavilion smelled of wet sawdust, rust, and old livestock. Wind moved through gaps in the damaged roof. Plastic sheeting snapped above the empty pens. Voices came from the auction ring. Isaiah moved along the wall. Wade stood at the center of the ring with Silas Mercer and two men in suits. The ranch safe sat open on a table. Mercer was in his late 50s, compact and carefully dressed, with white hair and a calm face that made every threat sound reasonable. "You cannot build that facility with the water projections in this report," Wade said. Mercer rested one hand on the document. "The state will determine what can be built." "You paid for a false report." "I paid for several studies. Some were more useful than others. This one shows the truth. It shows one model. It shows Red Bluff dry within 6 years." Mercer sighed. "Wade, you asked me to save your ranch. I asked for an easement. You asked for money. Men become poetic about the distinction after the check arrives. I never took your check. Clay did. Clay does not speak for me. He spoke with your letterhead, your surveys, and your financial statements." Wade's voice hardened. "You will release the debt?" "No." "Then I give this report to the state." Mercer smiled slightly. "You should have done that before coming here alone." Isaiah stepped from the shadows. He didn't. Every man turned. One of the suited men moved his hand toward his jacket. Isaiah stopped at the edge of the ring. "Caroline is outside with the sheriff on the phone." It was partly true. Mercer studied him. "Mr. Cole, you know me. I know every landowner along my corridor. You know their land better than their names. I know value. You know vulnerability." Mercer's expression remained calm. "Did Wade tell you your father once tried to sell me the same water rights?" Isaiah looked at Wade. Wade's face tightened. Mercer smiled. "There are so many versions of family history. The poor always prefer the one where wealth was stolen rather than lost." "Don't," Wade said. Mercer lifted the hydrology report. Nathan Cole understood what lay beneath Red Bluff. He simply lacked the capital to control it. Isaiah entered the ring. "What did my father do?" Wade said. "This is not the time." "It is the only time you seem willing to talk." Mercer looked amused. Your father approached my company's predecessor 28 years ago. He offered an option on the spring property if we financed his partnership with Wade. Isaiah stared at Wade. You knew? Yes. Did you take the deal? No. Mercer said. Wade took the land instead. Why? Wade's eyes stayed on Isaiah. Because Nathan forged my signature on the financing documents. The accusation struck like a physical blow. My father would not do that. He did. You're lying. I found the papers 2 days before closing. He had pledged Holloway cattle and equipment without telling me. Isaiah shook his head. No. Nathan was desperate. Your mother was sick. Medical bills had buried him. He believed the spring would make enough money to repair everything. My mother died when I was 6. This was the year before. Isaiah remembered almost nothing from that period, except hospital corridors and his father sitting alone at the kitchen table. Wade continued. I confronted him. He begged me not to report it. If the bank learned the truth, he would go to prison. So you bought the land. I bought it to prevent Mercer's people from taking control of the spring. And my father lost everything. I repaid what he invested. Not according to him. He refused the money. Mercer watched them with satisfaction. Isaiah felt years of certainty breaking apart. His father had spent the rest of his life calling Wade a thief. Maybe Wade had been one. Maybe Nathan had been desperate enough to become someone Isaiah never knew. Caroline entered through the side door. Isaiah turned sharply. I told you to stay outside. The signal dropped. Mercer's eyes moved to her sling. I am relieved to see you recovering. Are you? I had nothing to do with your accident. Wade stepped toward his daughter. You need to leave. A loud metallic crack came from above. Everyone looked up. One of the damaged roof trusses shifted. Then the lights went out. Darkness swallowed the pavilion. A second later, fire erupted near the loading entrance. Flames raced along plastic sheeting and dry insulation. Someone had poured accelerant. Mercer shouted at his men. Isaiah grabbed Caroline's hand. Stay with me. Smoke filled the ring within seconds. The roof groaned overhead. Wade seized the hydrology report from the table. One of Mercer's men knocked him aside, reaching for it. Caroline screamed, Dad! Isaiah struck the man, drove him into the rail, and pulled Wade upright. Move! They climbed out of the ring as burning material fell from the ceiling. Mercer and his men ran toward the main doors, but a section of roof collapsed across the aisle. The impact separated them. Isaiah led Carolyn and Wade toward the livestock chutes at the rear. There's an exit behind the holding pens. Wade coughed. Smoke reduced visibility to inches. They reached the first gate. Locked. Isaiah kicked it once. Nothing. Wade tried the latch. Chain on the other side. Fire moved along the rafters above them. Caroline struggled to breathe. Isaiah lifted a steel sorting pole and drove it through the gate. The chain held. A beam crashed behind them. Wade shoved Caroline down as sparks exploded across the aisle. Part of the roof struck Wade's back and pinned his leg. Dad! Isaiah pulled Caroline away from falling debris. Wade lay beneath a burning timber. Get her out, he shouted. Isaiah looked at the gate, the fire, and Wade. There was no time for all three. Caroline tried to reach her father. Isaiah held her back. Listen to me. No. Behind the second pen is a feed hatch. Small opening is ground level. I'm not leaving him. You're going through it. I won't. He gripped her shoulders. You trust me? Tears cut through the soot on her face. Yes, then go. He led her to the hatch, tore away the bent screen, and forced it open. Cold air rushed through. The opening was narrow, but large enough. Caroline crawled halfway out, then looked back. Isaiah, I'm coming. Promise me. He looked at Wade beneath the burning beam. I promise. She crawled through. Isaiah returned to Wade. The timber had trapped him above the knee. Flames moved toward his coat. Isaiah beat them out with his bare hand. You should leave me, Wade gasped. I've heard that suggestion from your family. Isaiah, save your breath. He wedged the sorting pole beneath the beam. His injured shoulders screamed as he pushed. The timber lifted, half an inch. Not enough. Wade saw the pain in his face. Your shoulder won't hold. It doesn't need to hold. Isaiah repositioned the pole, braced both feet against the rail, and pushed again. The beam rose. Wade dragged his leg free. The sorting pole bent. Isaiah grabbed Wade beneath the arm and pulled him toward the hatch. Behind them, the auction ring collapsed in a storm of sparks. They reached the opening. Wade tried to crawl, but his injured leg failed. Isaiah pushed him through. Hands outside dragged Wade clear. Isaiah lowered himself toward the hatch. The roof gave way. Something struck his back. He fell. For a moment, he was back beneath floodwater, unable to tell which direction led to air. Then he heard Caroline calling his name. He crawled toward the sound. His fingers found the hatch. He pulled himself through as the holding pens disappeared beneath fire. Outside, rain had begun again. Fire crews arrived from the highway. Daniel's cruiser crossed the field behind them. Caroline knelt in the mud and wrapped both arms around Isaiah. He held her with one arm while paramedics lifted Wade onto a stretcher. Across the pavilion, deputies detained one of Mercer's men near a pickup truck. In the truck bed, they found 2 fuel cans, a cutting torch, and the missing green Kawasaki utility vehicle. The man's name was Owen Pike. He worked as a private security contractor for Mercer Development. Under questioning, Pike admitted setting the pavilion fire. He denied cutting the trailer line. For 2 days, investigators believed him. Then surveillance footage from a gas station outside Abilene showed Pike purchasing the same type of cutting tool 3 days before Caroline's accident. Phone records placed him near Holloway Ranch that night. The case seemed complete. Mercer ordered Pike to sabotage Wade's trailer after the Wade threatened to expose the water report. When the sabotage failed and Caroline nearly died instead, Mercer shifted to foreclosure pressure. At the pavilion, he intended to destroy the report and frighten Wade into silence. Pike started the fire too early, trapping everyone. It was a clean story. Too clean. Daniel did not trust it. Neither did Isaiah. Pike had entered the ranch, cut the line, stolen the utility vehicle, and moved unnoticed through land, where dogs barked at unfamiliar trucks from half a mile away. Someone had helped him. Clay disappeared the morning after the fire. Mercer claimed no knowledge of Pike's actions. His attorneys described the fire as an unauthorized attempt by a disturbed contractor to conceal unrelated theft. Then Lena found the second payment. $100,000 from Mercer to a company owned by Clay, transferred the day after Wade rejected the easement. Daniel issued a warrant. Clay was arrested in Lubbock while trying to board a bus to New Mexico. He confessed after 12 hours, not because he felt guilty, because Pike had already begun blaming him. Clay admitted giving Pike the ranch schedule and access code. He admitted stealing the Kawasaki and leaving it near the southern gate. He admitted moving the damaged trailer to destroy evidence. But he insisted He did not know Caroline would drive it. "I thought Wade was hauling the bulls," he said during the recorded interview. Daniel sat across from him. "So you knew Pike intended to cause an accident?" "I knew he wanted to scare Wade." "You cut a brake line to scare someone?" "I didn't cut it. You made it possible." Clay stared at the table. Mercer said the trailer would fail near the lower pasture. Wade would lose control, maybe break an arm, and understand that fighting the corridor carried consequences. "And if he died?" Clay did not answer. Daniel leaned forward. "Caroline drove that truck." "I didn't know. She nearly drowned." "I said I didn't know." "You saw her leave." Clay's eyes lifted. That was the detail he had tried to hide. A ranch camera showed him crossing the yard 12 minutes before Caroline departed. He had seen the truck. He had seen the trailer. He could have stopped her. "Why didn't you warn her?" Daniel asked. Clay's face broke at last, not into remorse, into resentment. "Because she always got everything." Daniel sat back. Clay spoke faster now, years of bitterness opening behind each word. "She left for college. Came back when she felt like it. Wade kept her place waiting. Kept telling everyone the ranch would be hers one day, even though I was the one learning the books, talking to lenders, fixing his mistakes. So you let her drive into a storm with no brakes. I thought she would feel it before the highway. You gambled her life because you were angry. I didn't think the trailer would roll. But it did." Clay looked away. The confession destroyed Mercer's defense. It also destroyed what remained of Wade's family. The county charged Clay with conspiracy, aggravated assault, evidence tampering, and attempted murder under a theory that he had knowingly participated in conduct likely to cause Wade's death. Pike accepted a plea agreement and agreed to testify. Mercer was arrested 2 weeks later on conspiracy, fraud, bribery, and attempted murder charges. But arrest did not save Holloway Ranch. The debt remained. Mercer's finance company entered receivership, and another bank acquired the loan. The foreclosure deadline returned. Wade came home from the hospital using a cane. For the first time in his life, he could not solve a problem by working longer or speaking louder. He called a meeting in the ranch yard. Employees gathered beside the equipment barn. Families from Red Bluff came too, along with neighboring ranchers, reporters, county officials, and people who had never before been invited through Holloway's main gate. Wade stood on the flatbed of an old hay truck. Caroline stood beside him. Isaiah remained in the crowd with Lena and Reuben. Wade looked at the faces before him. I spent most of my life believing a man's land was proof of his character. He began. If he kept it, expanded it, and passed it on, then he had done something worthy. Wind moved across the yard. I was wrong. No one spoke. This ranch is in debt because I chose pride over truth. I allowed my nephew to make decisions because admitting I needed help felt like weakness. I considered taking money from a man whose plans would have harmed families south of here. And when Isaiah Coles saved my daughter's life, I repaid him by treating him as if his love for her was a greater danger than my own failures. Caroline looked at her father. Wade's voice roughened. I fired him because I was afraid. Isaiah felt the crowd shift. Wade continued. Some of that fear came from an old betrayal between his father and me. Some came from the world I was raised in. I told myself I was protecting Caroline from hardship, judgment, and loss. The truth is, I was protecting my authority. He looked directly at Isaiah. I was wrong. The apology did not erase the hospital waiting room. It did not restore 9 years of trust, but it was public, costly, and true. Wade turned to the people from Red Bluff. Mercer's company used Holloway surveys to target your land. Those surveys carried my ranch's name. Whether I authorized every page or not, the harm came through my gate. He lifted a folder. The southern 600 acres contain the spring Nathan Cole and I once planned to manage together. I purchased that land after our partnership failed. I have held it for 28 years. Isaiah's chest tightened. Wade looked at Lena. These deeds transfer 400 acres, including the spring, into a community land trust for Red Bluff families. The remaining 200 will be sold to repay part of the ranch debt. Murmurs spread through the crowd. Lena had not told Isaiah. He looked at her. She said quietly, "He signed this morning." Wade continued. The trust will protect the land from forced partition sales and preserve water access for local farms. A woman near the front began to cry. Isaiah recognized her as Mrs. Evelyn Carter, whose family had lost 80 acres to a Mercer shell company the previous year. Wade gripped the edge of the truck. This will not save Holloway Ranch as it exists today. Caroline lowered her eyes. We will sell the Western Range, the breeding facility, and most of the registered herd. We will keep 900 acres around the original homestead if the bank accepts the restructuring plan. The ranch that once stretched beyond sight would become less than a tenth of itself. Wade looked across the land. For years, I thought losing acreage meant losing my family's legacy. Now I understand that a legacy is not measured only by what a man keeps. Sometimes it is measured by what he refuses to take from others. He stepped down from the truck. No one applauded at first. The moment was too heavy for celebration. Then Reuben removed his hat. Others did the same. Evelyn Carter walked forward and took Wade's hand. "You should have done it sooner," she said. "I know. My father died angry at yours." "I know that too." She held his hand another second. "Then we start from what's left." The bank approved the restructuring. Holloway Ranch sold nearly 10,000 acres over the next 6 months. Some went to neighboring cattle operations. Some became conservation land. The breeding facility was purchased by a veterinary college. Wade watched trucks carry away equipment he had expected his grandchildren to use. He never complained in public. In private, Caroline sometimes found him standing in empty barns. Grief did not become less real because the decision was right. Isaiah understood that. His own grief had changed shape after learning the truth about his father. He spent weeks reviewing old letters Lena had recovered from Nathan's files. The letters revealed a man under terrible pressure. Medical bills, crop failures, fear of losing his wife. Nathan had forged Wade's signature. He had also intended to repay every dollar once the spring. Project succeeded. Desperation had not made him evil. It had made him dangerous. Isaiah visited his father's grave one Sunday evening. Caroline stood nearby but gave him distance. He placed one of the copied letters against the headstone. "I spent half my life defending a version of you," he said, "maybe because I thought loving you meant keeping you innocent." Wind moved through the grass. "You should have told me the truth." He looked toward the hills. "But I know why you didn't." He remained there until sunset. When he returned to Caroline, she took his hand. "Are you all right?" "No." She nodded. "Me neither." They walked back together. The Community Land Trust formed the following spring. Lena became its legal director. Evelyn Carter chaired the board. Families with inherited interests received assistance clearing titles and protecting their property from forced sales. The spring was renamed Cole Holloway Preserve. Isaiah objected to Wade's name being included. Wade objected to his own name being included. Evelyn ignored both men. Caroline developed a new plan for the reduced ranch. Instead of rebuilding the expensive breeding operation, she proposed a training and recovery center for working horses injured in ranch accidents, storms, and neglect cases. Sunday Bell became the first permanent resident. The mare had survived the flood with scars along one leg and a new distrust of trailers. Isaiah spent months helping her recover. The first time she willingly stepped into a trailer again, Caroline stood beside him with tears in her eyes. "She remembers," Caroline said. "So do we." "Is that why she's afraid?" "It's why she's careful." Caroline looked at him. "And what's the difference?" "Fear says, never move. Care says, know where you're stepping." She smiled faintly. "You practice these answers when I'm not around?" "Constantly." Wade offered Isaiah the position of ranch manager. Isaiah refused, not to punish him, because returning as an employee would have placed them back inside the old relationship, no matter how much had changed. Instead, Isaiah leased 200 acres from the land trust and started Cole Stock and Rescue, specializing in emergency livestock response, horse rehabilitation, and storm preparation for small ranches. Reuben became his business partner. Their first truck was older than both men wanted and louder than either admitted. Their first year was difficult. It was also theirs. Isaiah and Wade learned to speak again. At first, only about practical things. Fence lines, water pumps, Sunday Bell's leg. Then, slowly, about Nathan. Wade admitted he had gone to Isaiah's grandmother's funeral, but lacked the courage to enter the church. "I thought your family would ask why I didn't save him," Wade said one evening. They stood near the creek while cattle moved through amber grass. "Could you have?" Isaiah asked. "I don't know." "That's not what I asked." Wade looked at the water. "I could have told the truth sooner. Maybe truth would have saved something. Maybe. I hated him for putting me in that position. I hated you because he told me to." "I know." Isaiah picked up a stone and threw it into the creek. "I don't forgive you for firing me." Wade nodded. "I know. I don't forgive what you assumed about me. I know that too. But I believe you're trying." Wade's eyes remained on the water. "At my age, trying feels humiliating." "Good." Wade laughed. It was the first time Isaiah had heard him laugh in nearly a year. Caroline and Isaiah married 18 months after the storm. They did not hold the ceremony at the Holloway main house. They held it beside the spring. Families from Red Bluff brought food. Ranch hands built benches from reclaimed barn wood. Sunday Bell grazed in a nearby pasture wearing a garland Caroline insisted she did not need. Wade walked his daughter halfway down the path. Then he stopped. Isaiah waited beneath a cottonwood. Wade kissed Caroline's cheek. "The rest is yours," he said. She looked at him. "It always was." Wade nodded. Then Caroline walked the remaining distance alone. Not because she had no family, because she wanted every step to be chosen. When she reached Isaiah, he took her hand. "You sure?" he whispered. She looked at the man who had carried her through floodwater, challenged her pride protected her without diminishing her, and loved her long before either of them knew what the love would cost. I've been sure since before the storm. Behind them, the spring moved quietly over stone. Life did not become simple after the wedding. Wade still gave advice no one requested. Caroline still ignored advice she sometimes needed. Isaiah still withdrew when pain made him uncertain. They argued over work, money, risk, and whether he could reasonably answer emergency calls during tornado warnings. But they no longer allowed silence to make decisions for them. 3 years after the flood, another severe storm crossed Taylor County. The sky turned green over Red Bluff. Sirens sounded from town. Isaiah and Reuben drove toward a small ranch where a family had reported horses trapped in a low pasture. Caroline coordinated volunteers from the new emergency center. Wade, using a cane only on cold days now, worked the radio beside her. Rain struck the roof. For a moment, Caroline remembered the creak, the broken glass, and the sound of Isaiah disappearing beneath black water. Fear tightened around her chest. Wade noticed. "He knows the land," he said. "I know. He knows the weather. I know. He'll come back." Caroline looked at her father. "You said that like you believe it." "I've learned a few things." Hours later, Isaiah's truck emerged through the rain with a trailer behind it. 4 rescued horses stood inside. Caroline ran into the yard before the truck stopped. Isaiah climbed down, soaked and exhausted. She wrapped her arms around him. "You took too long. There was a bridge out. You could have called. Radio died. You always have an answer." "Not always." She pulled back. "What don't you have an answer for?" He looked toward Wade, the volunteers, the reduced ranch, the rescue barn, and the distant fields protected by the land trust. Then he looked at her. "How one terrible night gave us all this." Caroline rested her forehead against his. "It didn't." "No. The storm only showed us what was already there." Across the yard, Wade watched them. Years earlier, he would have turned away, afraid of what their love meant for his name. Now he lifted one hand. Isaiah lifted his in return. The storm moved east, leaving broken branches, flooded roads, and a sky slowly clearing over the ranch. They had lost land. They had lost certainty. They had lost the stories that once made their fathers easy to love and their enemies easy to hate. But they had kept the spring. They had kept the truth. And in the end, they had learned that a legacy was not the fence around what a family owned. It was the gate they finally chose to open.